Welcome to Spark Sessions. I'm your host, Sonya and this girl is on fire. Today's guest turned crisis into a company and survival into a movement. Ira Kaganovsky is the founder and CEO of Freedom Deodorant, a clean beauty brand created to give women safer choices that actually works. Before she was a founder, she spent nearly 20 years as a financial advisor and owned her own firm, navigating the pressure of a male-dominated industry while raising 3 daughters as a single mom. Her spark ignited when 3 close friends were diagnosed with breast cancer in the same year and was told by their doctors that they needed to switch to natural deodorant. After testing product after product that did not work, Ira went into her own kitchen and started formulating. Freedom was born to prove that women never have to choose between their health and feeling confident. Years later, the unthinkable happened. Ira herself was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer. She went through chemotherapy, surgeries, and radiation while continuing to lead her company, turning Freedom into a brand literally run by survivors. Freedom has since been awarded SBA Woman-Owned Business of the Year, Tory Burch Top 50 Women-Owned Businesses, and the 2025 Silver State Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Ira, thank you so much for coming here. Your story, your reinvention, your purpose. I mean, I got to meet you a couple of weeks ago in Denver, and I mean, you were just an inspiration, and I'm so thankful to have you here. And I just want to say congratulations from the bottom of my heart for all that you've accomplished and all you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Cheers.
Ira, you have, I mean, your story has got so many little twists and turns and so much history. And I always think that, like I said, it's so important to kind of know where someone's spark comes from. Like, where did it first start? What is parts of your roots that really shaped you to who you are today? So,
I mean, I have the typical immigrant story. I would think is the typical one, right? You grew up, I was born in the Ukraine, and before the Ukraine was the Ukraine. So I'm just going to date myself there, right? It was the Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union, I was a young girl and I was Jewish, which meant I had very little future. Being a female, not being the typical Soviet, you are very much beholden to what your expectations are, which are not high. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're not a boy.
Right.
Period. End of story. And nothing I could do to change that. Right. So my parents realized that for me to have any kind of future, they needed to find freedom. I was also kind of ornery. Yeah. And nothing's changed. So we were able to immigrate because of the fact we were Jewish. So the thing that was holding us back actually allowed us to move ahead. And we immigrated through Italy, which is kind of funny. And because I came to America speaking fluent Italian.
Wow.
Not English. I still spoke Russian. But Italian didn't get me far in Seattle at the time. That's where we immigrated to. So learned how to speak English from watching TV.
Oh my gosh, how old were you when you guys came over?
6 years old, yeah. Flintstones, Family Feud, when Richard Dawson was still on there kissing everybody, making out. I'm like, okay. So learned English. Never in a million years did I think that moving to America for freedom, that I would actually own freedom.
I know.
The name of my company. It's interesting how things in your life are always there, and it's whether we want to see them or not.
Yeah.
And we are so kindly guided, I think. And I think I was very much guided. I always felt the need to walk the beat of my own drum. I always felt that I should I could do anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the constraints because I didn't come from the typical family.
Yeah.
Right? My family was loud and boisterous and spoke different languages, and my mom gave me tongue sandwiches for school. Nobody wanted to trade with me. I was a very skinny kid. I didn't see myself in everybody in the typical American family. So, which at the time made me feel different and I didn't fit in. And it was hard mentally. But I look back on that now and I'm so thankful for that because it taught me how to stand on my own 2 feet
Yeah,
and create who I am.
exactly.
And little did I know that's your entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah,
I don't know any entrepreneur that actually fit in.
right.
Right? None of us fit in. We always went against the grain. And yeah, little did I know that immigration aspect actually helped shape me. And I didn't even. My parents wanted me to go to college. I didn't feel the need. I took a few classes. I dropped out. I'm a dropout. Sorry. And I remember I was working since I was 11 years old, whether it was a paper route, whether it was, doing odd and end jobs like during high school, helping kids, tutoring the football team. Like I did all kinds of stuff, always made money because we didn't have any.
Right.
We came here with one suitcase.
Wow.
And so my parents always instilled in me that if you want something, go get it. Like nobody's stopping you. Like, what are you waiting for? So I always had a good work ethic. And I remember going to school and going, what's the point?
Right.
You're going to teach me what to figure out. Like I could go do this now. And I remember my dad had a mechanic shop. I grew up in a mechanic shop. I loved cars. Hence, we're here for F1.
Exactly.
Right? So we're here
exactly.
for the cars. And I went to work at a dealership. And within a year at 19 years old, I was the top salesperson because I loved cars.
Yeah.
And I loved people. And I'm like, this is so cool. This is like the coolest job in the world. And I said, but I want to be a finance manager because they get to wear suits. Fashion. I always wanted to have the better stuff.
Your fashion sense is impeccable, by the way.
Thank you. I love dressing. I love being a woman. We get to wear all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
And I said, I want to be a finance manager. They said, you're too young and you didn't go to school, so that's not going to work. And I went, well, he just said no. Okay. So I was the youngest finance manager for Ford with a signing bonus by the time I was 21 years old. And I hated that job.
But that's amazing. I mean, the
Hated it.
barriers you broke, from coming from a young immigrant family, speaking two totally different languages to where you came from to being the youngest. I mean, that's so much grit. And
I didn't see the other option. I'm like, why wouldn't we do this? Why couldn't I do this? And sometimes I get into situations like that job where like, I'm not sure why I did this. I feel that we all have it.
yeah.
We all have it if we really want it. And I think I was getting told no so many times. Oh, you're a girl. Oh, you're not American. You don't speak the language. You don't do this, that. I spent my life overcoming things that no was just a suggestion.
Yeah.
And I was a finance manager for 2 years. They didn't even train me. They put me in with all the guys and it was horrible. It was sink or swim, right? They trained the guys. They didn't train me.
And you were coming in as their manager as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I by the way, I'm very short. I remember one time I was head to head with one of the new car managers, and he was 6'5", and I'm 4'11 3/4, and I had to grab a chair. And I stood on the chair so I could be eye to eye.
Oh my God.
In the middle of a manager meeting. But I was like, I don't care. Like, stop yelling at me from up there. If you're going to yell at me, let's go eye to eye. Let's go toe to toe. Let's go. And I'll tell you something interesting. 30 years later, I saw him and he apologized to me.
That's really great that he finally recognized that.
Yeah.
But you had to be that one that took that first move and said, hey, no, I'm equal.
It was, I don't know what it was in me, but I just had to knock down every wall. I was just on fire at that age. And then I left and I took a year off and I was in a Sting video. Like I did whatever I wanted to do. I moved to LA. And then I ran out of money. And I took a temp job at Bear Stearns. Remember Bear Stearns back in the day?
Yes.
And the broker had me doing trades, and I was like his secretary, hence why Bear Stearns is no longer around.
Right.
And I loved it. I said, how do I do this? He goes, you need a college degree. I said, oh yeah, I've heard this before. So I went to interview for Merrill Lynch, and they said, no, you need a college degree. Thank you so much for coming in. Sent me a letter, said, they're not going to hire me. So I called him the next day, and I said, that's unacceptable. And I said, give me a real interview. Don't give me a test and things to fill out. Find out who I am. They gave me 6 hours worth of interviews, downtown LA, second largest office in the country. And I was hired 3 hours later. And they said to me, I remember Mike Fusco was the last interview. He was the head of Merrill Lynch at the time of that office. And he goes, aren't you afraid? Like, you're going into a whole new realm. Like, you don't even know if you're going to pass the Series 7, which had like a 20% passing rating at that time or something. And I go, what do you mean am I afraid? I go, I came to this country with nothing. I moved to LA with a suitcase and a car. I go, what are you going to say? Say, no, I don't pass? And I go back to doing what I was doing before. But if I don't try, then I lose everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit there regretting that. So was with them for many years and then moved over to Citigroup after September 11th. And my boss told me that women should be barefoot at home. Because I was pregnant with my first daughter. And Sonya, he was right. My feet were killing me. I was in my heels. I was swollen. I'm like, you're right. I got to go. And I went home and I cried my eyes out. And I started my first company.
And you did it at home. So he was somewhat right?
He was absolutely right. I was barefoot the whole time.
Shoes, then that's fine.
I mean, our feet swell when we're pregnant with kids. So that was the beginning of the financial firm. I took 4 clients with me at Citigroup. So they didn't come after me. And the funny thing is, that guy was giving me hell for probably 6 months. He was auditing me every week and everything else. And Citigroup 6 months later sent me a letter with a check and said, we're so sorry. You didn't need all those audits. Like, it was crazy. So, but I moved ahead, took my 4 clients, grew it into a multi-million-dollar financial firm. And then that's where freedom started. When my 3 friends walked in and within 6 months told me they had breast cancer.
And 3 of your closest friends. I mean, that's how tough it is. 31, 41, and 43. Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough.
And by that point, I already had 3 daughters as well that I was raising on my own. Cheers to the single moms out there.
Yes, cheers to you and cheers to the single moms out there.
100%.
That's the hardest thing to do as well,
So,
and there is no such thing as balance. We all talk about it, but no, it's just you do.
Balance. It's when you're, I always think of when they say balance, that picture of like the acrobat with like holding the sticks with the plates on it, right?
Right.
And there's like a plate here and there's another plate and there's a cup and he's just trying to balance all of that. And that's when I think of like when women try to balance.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Right? It's any minute, it could all fall apart.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's, I talk about that. That's a whole different conversation we could have about balance.
We're definitely going to talk about that. So tell me, like, how did you go about it saying, I'm going to solve this problem? You see this problem with your 3 friends.
Yeah.
And what is plaguing you? What gave you, I guess, that same courage to go back out there and say, I'm going to fix this?
So I didn't know I was going to do that. That was not the point. Their doctors came back and said, it's not just what you put in your body, but it's what you put on your body as well, because your skin's your largest organ.
Right.
I had no idea. Did you know your skin was your largest organ?
Yes, I think I did know.
Okay. I didn't know. And so we switched everything out lotions, soaps, and soap's like the easiest thing because you use that every day, right? There's a lot of great natural soaps. That's easy to find. But deodorant. Whew. I mean, I was the girl that had all the great, the Charlotte Tilburys, the Chanels, the great makeup and everything else. And I found myself for a year running around trying to find natural deodorant. Like, because it was so hard to find at the time and it smelled like crap. Like it all had patchouli, and the only kind of patchouli I even slightly like is the Tom Ford kind, and it was not the Tom Ford kind. I know I sound a little snobby there, but I think every woman should be snobby.
Yeah.
Like I don't want something that is so organic and crunchy that I'm like scooping out with my fingers. It's under my nails all day. Like I remember sitting in a boardroom. It was a casino we were working with. I was doing their 401k. Picture this. Long table full of men in suits. Middle of summer, 120 degrees outside. I'm in a dress. I'm in a black dress, but it's a sleeveless black dress. Okay? Up to here, mock neck, sleeveless black dress. I'm sitting at this table running the 401k meeting. And I'm like, God, these guys smell. Right? It's stinky in here. Only to realize it was me.
Oh my God.
It was me. Like I saw the Sex in the City episode, the new one where she tried the natural deodorant and she's like, that was me 100%. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. I mean, it was so bad. And then finally a friend of mine's like, okay, I can't take you anywhere. Like you can't come with me anywhere. You smell. And I'm like, so she goes, I'll show you how to make deodorant. And what do you mean? Who makes deodorant?
Right.
Right? Like it's like soup or something? She goes, yeah. She goes, it's just natural ingredients put together. And I became fascinated by it. I made the first deodorant with her and I was obsessed. It was like they unleashed the tiger. Like if you came over to my house, you got a glass of wine and I got your armpits. I'm like, tell me if this one smells right. Tell me what that one smells all right. My whole kitchen, I had different formulas. I had different scents. All the scents were all natural. I'm like, how do we get this to smell really good without using perfume? That was one. Two, how do we get it where it's not as harsh on your skin? And by the way, everybody's armpits are all different. Okay. Right. So for some people, it might be okay. For some people, it won't. You're not going to please everybody. Our chemistry is just different. But for me, it was like, hold on, I want it to be smooth. I don't want it to look brown. I want it to actually be clear when it goes on the skin. It could be white on the stick. Like all these things that I think a woman would think of, right?
Right.
And I loved it. And my phone was ringing off the hook. And I thought, wait a minute. This could be a business.
Yeah.
So I took my daughter's lunchbox. I will never forget. It's like gray and white stripe with a pink zipper on top. Nothing fancy. Threw some deodorants in there. And I live in Las Vegas, so the Strip is my backyard, right?
Right.
So I started at Mirage, and I walked down to every spa I could think of, because I'm thinking spas. I'm not thinking retail, I'm thinking spas. And you know what they did? They asked me to leave. They're like, we don't need deodorants. Why would we? We have beautiful skin products and we have beautiful waters and we have this. Why would we put a deodorant out there? Please leave. Nobody would meet with me. And I made it from Mirage to the Four Seasons. And if anybody knows Vegas.
That's a long walk.
It's a long walk.
That is a long, long walk. Oh my gosh.
And there was nothing beyond the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
So that was like my last stop.
Yeah.
And I said to them, please, like I'm begging you. I'm a women-owned business, single mom. Give me a shot. Let me talk to your manager, please. Because at this point, I'm kind of desperate, right?
Yeah.
I've got no's across the board. And I know I've got a great thing. And Shannon walked out. She was the manager. And she looked at me and she goes, She goes, your packaging's ugly. And I was like, you just called my baby ugly. But then I thought, I'm a businesswoman. I went, wait a minute. She didn't say the product was bad. She said the packaging's ugly. So I looked at her and I go, so if I had better packaging? She goes, oh yeah, I'd give you a PO. Called some friends that were graphic designers. I'm like, I spent probably 3 nights all night, like on Alibaba, on everything, looking at different deodorant packaging, this, that, whatever, like, and got a concept together and changed the packaging, had a friend of mine design it, took a picture of it, sent it to the Four Seasons, and she said yes.
Beautiful.
And she gave me an order.
Wow.
And it sold out by the time we brought it in and made it and got it there. It sold out in 3 days.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What an entrepreneurial journey. And I just love that. I love that. I mean, that's such a great story. Wow.
My heart still stops when I think about that, just because of the push that we had for that. And, you know, nobody tells you in entrepreneurship that you take 1 step forward and 10 steps back.
Right.
You know, so we went from the Four Seasons, then we got into Canyon Ranch, and then, you know, listen, we're at the beautiful Wynn property,
Yes.
and all of their deodorants and their spas are all our deodorants, you
Yes.
know. But, you know, you think of that and then you grow it, and we had like 400 spas within 2 years, and I sold the financial firm. I'm like, I'm going in this full time. I got this. And you know what happened next? COVID.
Oh, yeah.
How many spas were open during COVID?
Yeah.
So we spent 2 years building up the spas, and overnight, our business was gone.
Like I said, just talking to you, I kind of see that like those fires, those burns actually probably fuel you actually versus
They do,
knock you out.
They do. They
You're
do.
just running around on fire and stuff like that. But I mean, okay, so you
That's
launched
the
your
menopause.
business.
Kidding.
You launched your business, you know, in the spas.
Yeah.
Spas are closed. Business is overnight. You've given up your career, given up your business. You're a single mom.
Yes. I have employees.
You have employees. How did you, first of all, how did you get through that period, and what lessons, I guess, or what did you gain?
You know what the funny thing is, COVID, the lesson from COVID was, it was actually the perfect storm. COVID was, because I thought about it. I'm like, all these buyers that I'm trying to talk to regular time during COVID have nothing to do.
Right.
Right. So what a great time to build business, you know, and a lot of people didn't look at it that way. And then I also reached out to the manufacturers who were kind of struggling getting business out there. And I reached out to my friends with, let's put it this way. My clients were Southwest Airlines, Alaska Airlines, and the Venetian Hotel are my first 3 clients into COVID, who I could not get any other time.
Yeah.
So I ended up growing the business even more during COVID. But I'll tell you what, the level of stress, I don't think I slept that whole year. I remember being on planes because they shut Nevada down for alcohol, and we
Right.
needed alcohol for the wipes. And I flew to Reno and sat down with 4 distilleries to try to get their alcohol to our manufacturer so we could even make sanitizing wipes. You know, and who am I to broker an alcohol deal? Like who would have thought I started a deodorant company to broker an alcohol deal? I was running around like crazy, but we killed it. We had such a great year. And from that great year, I was like, listen, you know, we had 7 employees at the time. We had a beautiful warehouse. And I'm like, if we need to keep this going, this is the perfect time to raise capital.
Right.
Because everybody's talking about raising capital.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I think I know how to do this. I knew nothing.
And that's a challenge. We talk about that a lot. Less than 2%
Yes.
of females
Yes.
are funded.
Less than 2%.
Less than 2%.
Like let's flip the script on that. 98% are men that get funded. 98% are men. 2% are women. What is it? There's not 2% of women starting businesses.
No.
It is much higher than
It's actually 54% of entrepreneurial businesses are women owned. It's just the dichotomy of getting that funding.
You know, we were lucky. We were chosen by Tory Burch to be one of their fellows in 2019, right before everything closed down. And then our business was chosen their top 10 to go pitch. I didn't even know how to pitch. I had no clue. And I told our story, and we had like a standing ovation. It was amazing, right? And we have a hummingbird story I'll tell you about later. I closed with that. I had this woman chase me down and she said, I don't know who you are, but I think I need to be part of your business. I didn't know who she was either. And when I said that we were starting to raise, she was the first person I called. And she was Jessie Draper.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So, and Jessie Draper owns Halogen Funds, is the daughter of Tim Draper, who is a very famous investor, and Jessie's a very famous investor. She has built companies that, like, she has exited some of the most monumental companies, right? And invested in some of the biggest companies as well. And I couldn't believe that I called Jessie and she said, okay, here's the deal. I could get you in at 2:00 in the afternoon on Tuesday. I happen to be passing through, you're going to love this. I was passing through LA to go to England because my ex-husband's mother passed. I forgot what it was. We were going to England and we had a layover in LA. I had a 3-hour layover, me and my 3 kids by ourselves. We took an Uber to Jessie's office. I pitched her on my layover from England, okay? I pitched her and she looks at me and she goes, do you really have your kids in the lobby right now? I said, yes, I do. And I go, I have their passports right here in my pocket too. And she's like, you've got to be kidding me. And I said, I am a single mother that runs a business. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I go, they get to see this. I want them to see this. Right? Because my kids looked at me, they're like, Mom, you could do this. They still remember that to this day. And Jessie walked out, met them, and ended up being one of our investors.
That's amazing.
That was the easy one.
Yeah.
The rest, I have been patted on my head and told that I have a cute hobby. I have been told that, how fun to make soap. You don't make soap. How many people looked down their noses at us? Probably out of 100 people that we met with, we probably closed 8 people out of that. We had an amazing angel investor, Gavin Isaacs, who helped us as well. I love Gavin. He really showed me a lot and helped. Thank God for that. A man, right? And we really struggled with female investors, I found female investors to be much more analytical, really wanted the bottom line where the guys were like, I think you're great. You'll figure this out. Let's go. And I think it's because we're not taught how to do it as much. I don't look down upon them, but I feel like you got to give a little grace to the female investors. And if the female investors need to give grace to the female run businesses to say, hey, listen, let's work on this together, because none of us were raised with this.
Right.
We were raised to be moms.
Yeah.
Right? Or good wives. We weren't raised to be rock star businesswomen and, VCs and stuff like. Not our jam. But the men have been great for us and really stepped in and invested with us. And I was so excited. We closed our round. I was on my way. We were going to Dubai. We were meeting with some of the hotels in the Middle East. And I thought, what a great way. We'll start there, start small, and then we'll move into the U.S. We're Women-Owned Business of the Year that year. So we had a lot of backing from Nevada as well to go, and be more international. And I got off that plane to Dubai 2 weeks out of, getting the money in the bank from our round. And we actually closed our round early because we didn't need the money. We were doing well. My phone rang. And I'm like, that's weird. My phone's ringing in Dubai. Why? Right when I was getting off the plane. And it was my doctor. And she called to tell me that I had breast cancer.
Oh, man. I can't even imagine. Not only, you must have said, why? Why me? All that you have been through, reaching to that top pinnacle, and then this.
What went through my head was, how? Like, I started from breast cancer. I did everything they told you to do. I had a mammogram every 6 months because I had very dense breasts. Mm-hmm. I had very cystic breasts. And so I had to be watched a little bit more. But I had no one in my family had breast cancer. And I'd had biopsies in the past for cysts. I was like, how is this possible? I just had a mammogram. Yeah, and why? Why? Like, I am your advocate here to get healthy. And I said, okay. I called the doctor immediately. And I knew people in the breast cancer community. We've been part of the community for so many years. And they said, don't worry about it. Stay in Dubai for a couple of weeks. There's nothing you could do right now. We'll get everything set up from the time you get back. We'll get your MRIs, your genetic testing, all of that stuff. And they said, don't worry about it. It's also a slow grower from what we see. It should be a piece of cake. We'll pop it out. You'll be done. And that was not the case. So I ended up.
You were 2B.
Yeah, I was 2B. Yeah, which means it was larger and it had hit the lymph nodes as well.
Yeah.
That's what 2B means. And I opted for a double mastectomy. That was my decision. I had fed 3 kids with these bad boys, and I was like, you know what? I don't need them. We'll get new ones. I'll give my doctor a vision board. We'll be okay. It was a 10-centimeter monster, which was what MD Anderson called it, was a monster. It had hit 2 of my lymph nodes microscopically, which is good, but never good in the lymph nodes. I went through chemo. I went septic at one point. I was in the hospital for 10 days, almost died. Radiation, 33 rounds of radiation, 7 surgeries. They actually used my lat muscles to rebuild me. I feel like the bionic woman. My hair came back better. The bald look was cool, by the way, I have to say.
I've seen some of the pictures of it. You did rock it very well.
Thank you. Well, you know what, though? I didn't have a choice, and I'll tell you why, because it throws you into an early onset menopause, which you don't expect. And when I had those hot flashes, being bald was amazing. Like, it went right through my head. It was like, oh, it's gone. Okay, good. You know, it was lovely. But it grew back, you know, so anybody who's watching out there, you'll be fine.
Your hair is beautiful.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And it's curly. I actually had to straighten it today. Never had curly hair a day in my life. And so I was really excited. I had a definite silver lining. You know, God was like, don't worry, I got you covered. And I remember coming out of chemo, being bald, and seeing a bill that came through of a credit card I didn't know about. Oh, that's weird. And I just hired a new operations person. He came from Pixie, big company. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, you know, can you get me some of the passwords? I think I'm missing some passwords of some accounts that I'm not sure about. And he said, why do you need to know that? And that's when I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I started doing some digging and realized that he had spent all the money that we had just raised.
Oh my gosh.
We were in debt, and that he had shut down all our wholesale business. All the business that got us to where we were, shut it all down, fired our sales gal. She even sent me a note. She goes, if you ever get rid of him, I'll come back to you. I had no idea anything. I mean, I could blame it on brain fog. I could blame it on chemo brain. I don't.
There's nothing you can blame yourself for this. This is obviously, you know.
It was a tough pill to swallow because as women, we take the brunt of everything, right? Like, we carry the stress. We want to fix, right? That's what we do. That's why I think as women, we can't get balanced, because we keep taking on. So I could fix this. I could fix that. And I could fix this. And I remember sitting there, again, bald, right? Looking in the mirror, and I went, what just happened? And, you know, it's back to that whole thing of like, just when you think you made plans, either God or cancer looks at you and laughs.
Yeah.
And right around that point, somebody called me to do a keynote. And I thought, okay, I don't know what a keynote is, but okay, I'll come and speak. You know, if you want me to speak, I'll come speak. And I walked on that stage, and there's 600 people sitting staring at me. My hair was just bare. I called it my old man hair because it was just starting to grow back. And I told my story. And I had a line of people standing waiting to have me come speak at their thing, and at their event or their school. And I went, why? And they're like, this is a conversation we all need to be having.
Yes.
Right? And especially with women. And also, I should mention, my cancer was an estrogen positive cancer. 75% of breast cancer is estrogen forward. Your estrogen goes wonky when your cortisol is high.
Yeah.
Where does cortisol?
From stress. And that's, I
Stress.
was going to ask you just about that. So
It's stress. So I'm sitting there going, did I do this to myself? And by the way, I never want to tell anybody they did it for, to themselves. There's so many other factors, right?
Right.
But I think it led to it. And now, the statistics are that with women, 80% of all autoimmune disease is in women.
Yeah.
80%.
Wow.
So if that doesn't tell you how we internalize, what we're creating for ourselves. And that's when I realized what freedom really was. It's not just the name of my company.
Right.
And I stood back and I went, how do I run this company and not kill myself? I know that's pretty harsh, but it's the truth. When you get sick or you get a diagnosis, it's not about hitting your KPIs.
Right.
Right. And it's also, there's only so much you can control there.
Right.
And that's when I learned to let go. And the minute I let go, things started happening. My company grew like leaps and bounds. We became brand standard for Montage Pendry properties. And it was fun again. And I wasn't so stressed out. And I gave myself time to kind of figure out what I wanted to create in my life.
Okay, so I think that really kind of leads perfectly into kind of the burning question. The burning question is more a societal question,
Yeah.
how your impact and your story is actually helping all of your fellow women and ones that's going through that same struggle, right? How do we take the weight of the world, that care, all of that stress, putting all of that burden, I've got to fix this, I've got to take care of my kids, I've got to push forward. How do we take that and start letting it go to where it's not, one, killing us,
Right.
and we give ourselves some of that grace to not have it affect our health?
So let me give you an interesting statistic first.
Okay.
That's going to blow your mind. Okay. 100 years ago, women took care of 90% of the household chores, kids, everything else. The home was the woman's home, right?
Right.
They took care of 90%. That was 100 years ago. The husband would help out 10% of it, right? Fast forward 100 years. Women take care of 90% of the home. So in 100 years ago, we worked at home though too. We didn't have outside jobs necessarily. Right. Some did, right? But it wasn't the norm, right? So that was our job, was at home. Now we do have all the outside stuff, right? Plus we have the home, and we're still the same human.
Right.
So it almost makes so much sense that we're so stressed out and we're so exhausted and that we're getting sicker because we're also doing double the work we've always done. And we're living longer.
Yes.
And on top of living longer, nobody's even researched us past 20 years of outliving our ovaries.
Right.
So not only are we taking on more, doing more, but we're also dealing with a changing body that we don't know where to go with.
Right.
So it's kind of like you can't win.
No.
You kind of can't win. And that's when letting go for me and stepping back was like, you can only pound your head against the wall so many times before you're just like, I give up, white flag.
Yeah.
White flag, right? And during my cancer journey, I did have to do that. There was a lot of white flag moments on that. And I see women doing it over and over and over. And I want to be there to help women not get the same phone call I did.
Yeah.
I want to be there to explain to women that you don't have to do this.
Right.
Right? There are certain things you could do. There are certain things you don't have to do. You don't have to fix the world. You don't have to fix your ex-husband. I don't. You don't have to fix your neighbor. The only person you need to worry about, and here's the crazy part. They tell you this on airplanes every day. Put the mask on yourself first.
Yes.
And we don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put the mask on you and you and you, and we'll sit there and hyperventilate, until we can't even stand up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a motto, everybody's talking about lean in, lean in, lean in. I think we're leaning in so much we're falling over. What I wish more people talked about was lean back.
Yeah.
Lean back a little.
Yes.
Right? Rest, relax, restore, take care of you. You want to fix something? Look in the mirror.
Yes.
Fix that. Work on that. Because when you fix that, you could give so much more to everybody around you. Statistics even show that women in business give back to their community 10 times more than a man does.
Exactly.
So when a woman is functioning at 100%, we are so much more effective for everyone around us.
Yes. And it's also okay. And I think women, we do understand we can surround ourselves with others that help us.
Oh, yeah.
And lean on others to, as a community. And when we can give up some of that, then that is where we can also, it's okay to ask for help. You can't do it all.
You know what's interesting that you said that? And I love that you said that. So thank you for that. Because when I was growing up, I remember the comment of it takes a village to raise a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
To raise a child. And I see all these women that are trying to do it on their own. And I'm like, why? Why? I remember when I had my first daughter, my mom kicked me out of the house after 2 weeks. And she's like, get out of the house, go do something, right? Because when I was a baby, my grandmother raised me, right? Because she was right down the street.
Yeah.
We were always surrounded by family and friends, and everybody kind of raised each other.
Right.
Well, nowadays, I feel like everybody's moving away, and these poor mothers, man, these poor moms that are like trying to keep up with the other moms and everything else. And it's like, so the pacifier fell on the ground. Take it, pick it up, put it in your mouth, give it to the kid.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine.
Yes.
They're going to be fine. And I went with that philosophy for a long time with my girls, and I hope they turned out okay. I think I did.
I imagine your girls are amazing, just like you, because like I said, your story and your wisdom, and I think that is something that women do need to understand is having that grace. Don't get that phone call.
Don't get that phone call. Reach out to your friends. Say you need help. Say you need something. Hey, can you watch the kids? Hey, can we just go for a walk? Hey, just talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think for women, it's really hard because there's this cattiness, of this is mine, or I can't share this, or I'm afraid to tell you this. And it's like, why?
Or being scared that there's only one seat at the table. If there's only one seat at the table, then just build a bigger table and invite more. And it's like,
I bring my own chair.
Exactly. Yes, you have to, but there's not one seat at the table. We do need to lift each other up. And I do find that, like I said, sometimes in society, we tear each other down versus lifting up.
Agreed. And I think that needs to stop. But I think that's where it's hard for women to lean on each other because we don't know how to do that. And I always tell women, it only takes one time to ask.
Exactly.
It's okay. Just ask. And if that person says no, just ask somebody else.
Yeah.
And you find your people.
Yes.
And those people will put you on their shoulders and they will take care of you.
You find your tribe.
Always.
Yes. You do not let your flame extinguish. I mean, you just keep pushing through. But it is a tireless journey. How do you fuel your flame? What advice can you give to others of something that you can do to self-care?
So, I went down this self-care journey during the cancer treatments. And, I was plunged in ice cold water. I walked on fire, tried to stand upside down, I did everything that they talked about doing. And it was a little torturous, I have to say. But I realized something very easy. I raised my kids on a schedule. Okay. My ex-husband's sister was a professional nanny in England, like literally Mary Poppins. Her name is Mary, right? And she put my kids on this tight schedule. And she goes, I promise you it's going to make your life easier. And it did. And I realized why we raise our kids on a schedule and then get it and then go wild afterwards, right? And we don't put ourselves on a schedule. And the only schedule I had was filled hour by work and kid stuff and everything else. But there was none of that schedule included me, unless it was like going to the gym, which was pretty torturous sometimes too, right? So I started creating a schedule, and that schedule basically had me at the beginning of the day and me at the end of the day. And I did a 15-15-15.
Okay.
So I started going to sleep earlier in the evening, half an hour to an hour earlier. And I kept that consistent. I would get into bed by 9 o'clock and I would hopefully fall asleep by 10. And I'll tell you, there's a ritual behind that too, right? But I also started waking up, instead of 6, I would wake up at 5. And I thought, I am not a morning person, my friends. I am not a morning person. And I'm like, I got to see if this works. And by the way, you don't do it for a couple days and see if it works. You got to give yourself like 30 days to see if this works. And then I realized that I loved waking up at 5 a.m., that it was my time. And I would do 15 minutes of movement, stretching, exercise. I have, you could do a YouTube video, 10-minute dancing video. I have that Lululemon mirror. So I would do a different exercise there. I would do 15 minutes of meditation. And by the way, this is super easy and it's free. Because you go on YouTube and you find your favorite meditation. I like Joe Dispenza. And I would turn on the Joe Dispenza meditation. And I would sit there in silence for 15 minutes. And I would journal 3 things that I was grateful for that day. And by the way, when I say journal, because everybody's like, you should journal.
Yeah.
I am not a great writer, okay? And I just could sometimes write nonsense. I got a journal that prompted questions for me.
Okay.
What are 3 things you're grateful for today? And it could be like, I found my pen. I found my reading glasses. I didn't have to walk too far for my reading glasses. I'm breathing today. It's sunny outside today. It's overcast and beautiful and gloomy today. It prompted me and asked me questions. And it actually asked me 3 questions every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that last 15 minutes, you know what I did? Anything I wanted. But there was one rule. Nobody was invited. Not the cats, not the dogs, not the kids, nobody. Nobody was invited to that. And sometimes I just made the perfect cup of coffee, right? But you do that 3-4 days a week. And I say 3-4 days because type A's,
right?
We want to do it every day. And if we miss a day, we'll kick our butts for it, right? And I would go into the day, I was less reactive. I was more strategic because I had my downtime ready. And I filled my cup. I had moved. I had meditated. I made a cup of coffee. I might have taken a walk. I might have taken the best hot shower with some beautiful eucalyptus spray. Our brand, Freedom Eucalyptus Spray. Shameless plug, I'm sorry. But it was my time. And nobody was allowed in that time. And the way my day used to be was I would wake up and it was like, get the kids to school, get your clothes on, get your shoes on, do this. Here's your food, answering phone calls, emails. You'd go 0 to 60. I mean, can you even feel it when I'm describing it? Like,
yes.
Right? As opposed to, oh, this is my time right now. I'm going to sit in silence for a little bit. And by the way, not everybody knows how to meditate. It is a muscle.
Yes, it is.
Okay. You have to keep at it.
Because you have to really also, you cannot be thinking a million thoughts to meditate. Yes.
But the thing is, meditation helped me stop that.
Yes.
But it took me a solid year to really be a decent meditator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go to retreats. Like I tried different things. But once it hit, there was no looking back. Because I'm like, I love how that feels. I love how I feel after I meditate. So to all of you that say I can't meditate, that's BS. Everybody can meditate. It just takes time. It's a muscle, like anything else. So that's morning. And then evening, though, by 8:30, 9 o'clock, no phone, no blue light, no TV, which is hard because I like to scroll.
Yeah.
I like watching TV in bed. I do have a TV in my room, right? I actually watch F1 in the mornings. But you can't have any of that before you go to bed because your mind goes racing.
Yeah.
And you're going to love what I do next.
Okay, I want to hear
I read People magazine.
it.
I have been a subscriber for many, many years. And that is, I will have a People magazine. I will have a book. I will, not an audiobook, like an actual physical book, because I get about 10 pages in and I'm out like a light.
Yeah.
You know, I will have a journal there so I could dump out everything in my brain. And statistics actually say that if you write down all the things you didn't do, you sleep better.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. So that way it's not in your head, it's already down. And that way you have it the next day. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
So you just emptied your brain.
I love that. I love that.
It's nice and dark and quiet in my room, nice and cold because I'm menopausal. It needs to be like frigid polar bear in there. But you do that and you combine those two. So the day starts with yourself and the day ends with yourself. And you do that 3-4 days a week. Again, you have weekends, you have events, you have different things that'll throw that off, right? And allow that to happen. Don't be so strict at it that you have to do this every day. But when you go back into your routine, it's amazing how well you think, how balanced you feel. You know, whenever I feel I'm unbalanced, I realize I haven't done my routine. And it just takes a day or two to get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
My stress levels have gone down, according to this.
Yes.
We've been more productive. I work better with my team. My kids like me more. I like me more.
That's an important part.
100%, you know, and I'm like, I could do this all day long. I feel so good. And not everybody can say that coming out of cancer. I feel great. And cancer was one of the best things that could have happened to me. Because the way I was running, who knew what else would have happened?
First of all, cheers. You're an amazing survivor and an inspiration. And thank you for your wisdom that you share with so many others. We all have to listen to it and learn that.
Thank you.
So I think the most important part of Spark Sessions and the reason why we even started this is passing the torch. Yeah. Passing the torch to the next generation, to your daughters, kind of, you know, what you could go back in time to say to your younger self, what is, I guess, the most important thing that you hope to pay forward?
I love this question. I love it. I used to hear what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And going through everything between immigration, breaking down walls, cancer, I feel pretty strong. But strong enough to break down walls.
Right.
And that's what I want to do. I want to inspire. I want to break down walls, but I don't want to just inspire. I want to open those doors, right? When you met me, I said, hey, I've got another woman.
Exactly.
Right? I will bring other women with me into the room all day long. I feel like the struggle and one of the hardest things I think for women is we talk about doing things, but we don't tell you that we're going to go meet an investor, or we don't tell you this, or,
right.
You know, no. If you're raising capital, I'm going to give you every single investor I have. I'm going to make that phone call. I'm going to bring you in and say, hey, listen, you got to meet this girl. She's really great, right? I want to be that person for the next woman to be great.
Yes.
You know, I will knock down that wall, and if she needs to stand on me to go do it, to be a little taller to get over the next wall, I'll do it.
And that's truly a call to action, because that's really what it's about, is like, how do we continue to break those barriers for our daughters, for the next women that are coming in there, where they don't have that belief that, you know, that they have to do 90% at home and everything else, but so that they know that they can do anything, right?
They can.
They can.
We make humans. We literally make humans in a body. We are amazing and great.
My friend said it, and I love it, is she says, we are infinity.
We are.
And that's a powerful thing.
100%. But the thing is, though, we don't know how to help each other. And that's what I want to help change. You know, I own freedom. I actually own the trademark of freedom. The little Jewish Soviet girl, you know, owns freedom. And it was my first concert with George Michael, by the way.
I
That's
love
where
that.
came
I love
from.
that.
So it's not a political thing at all. It was just like, oh, cool. That was my favorite concert. I want women to know they can create their own freedom.
Yes.
So, and if I can open, I'm not going to open, I'm going to slam down that door, you know, and let the rest of the women in. I'll do that. That's what I love doing.
Cheers to that again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now this is the fun round. This is the fire round. First question that comes to your mind. I mean, first answer that comes to your mind. No wrong answer. What is your one superpower?
Freedom.
Oh, I think you already answered this one. First thing you do in the morning.
Oh, stretch, move, dance, my time.
I know. I love that. A song that always boosts your mood.
Freedom.
Of course. Most unexpected lesson cancer taught you.
Oh my God, can I just use freedom for all of it? No,
Yes.
I'm kidding. Care.
Love
Self-care.
that. Favorite scent you ever created?
I didn't create this one, but I wish I did. I found this beautiful scent in Germany. And it was like this amber oud. And I tried to recreate it on our amber line. It didn't take off very well, but I still have a ton of it. And I love it's like an amber blood orange with sandalwood. It's like musky
beautiful.
and beautiful. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite one.
I like that.
We don't carry it anymore. Sorry.
One business mistake you're now grateful for.
One. I'm like, what week is it? I think hiring that operations guy. One thing I didn't say is women don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our own gut. We listen to other people. And he was the last time that I listened to anybody. And I started listening to myself after that. So yeah, hiring him.
That's a good, powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing you're unapologetically saying no to nowadays.
Listening to other people.
I like that. So you answered yourself twice. One thing you always have in your bag.
Freedom deodorant. One of our products somewhere.
Dream spot or retailer you want to see Freedom in next?
Major hotel brand. I mean, we'd love to be the brand standard of Ritz-Carlton. We're going to put that out there right now.
There you go. You got to manifest it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. Your guilty pleasure.
People Magazine.
I know. I love that.
I can't believe I tell people that, but I'm like, it's so good. And everything's true in there.
But you're also, you're right. It's like with reading right before you go to bed, it will definitely put you to sleep. Okay. Favorite book that you've read lately? Or favorite book, anything.
So there's two different ones. Business-wise, 10X is easier than 2X. If you haven't read it, I think anybody who has a business needs to read that book. Mm-hmm. 10X is easier than 2X. I've got it on Audible. Like I listen to it all the time. Smutty. I love Discovery of Witches.
Oh, fun.
Because I think, especially for women, we're all kind of witches.
Yeah.
And the witch falls in love with a vampire. It's so good. It's so good. There's like four or five books of it. It's so good.
That's kind of your guilty pleasure as well. So it's like 2.
100%.
You are so fun. I cannot wait to hang out with you more next time I come.
Oh my God, I would love that. I think we would have a good time.
Final question. And we ask all of our guests, what is your one truth, that one spark that carries you through all of life?
Jump off the cliff and build a plane on the way down.
I love that. I love that. You have been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. I cannot wait for everybody to hear your story. You are definitely an inspiration. I'm so thankful.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Spark Sessions. Until next time, keep the fire burning.